Hey everyone. Last week we talked about courage. This week we're going to follow in the same vein talking about courage, but we're going to be specific and look at authenticity. Authenticity is this collection of choices that we make every single day, really, moment to moment. It's about the choice to show up and be real. It's about choosing to be honest. It's about choosing to let our true selves show up. And obviously that takes courage, right? Anytime I'm in the middle of my own self-doubt, I don't want to show up all true about myself. I don't want to show up real. I want to hold back. And I think that's true of all of us. So the idea is we can choose authenticity anytime we want to. And it makes us feel hopeful and at the same time exhausted at the thought that we can choose it anytime we want to. I feel hopeful because being real is something I value, right? You do too. And then we're all drawn to it. We're drawn to people who are warm and authentic and down to earth and honest people. We're drawn to that authenticity. But I feel exhausted. You probably do too. Because without even giving it much thought, most of us know that choosing authenticity in a culture that dictates everything, from how much we should weigh to what our cars should look like, is a huge undertaking. Being authentic in a culture that says, hey, you need to fit in, it seems impossible. So Brene Brown, you've heard me mention her often. She's one of my favorite researchers out of the University of Houston. She has spent some time researching authenticity, and this is what she says about it. Here's how she defines authenticity. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. I'm going to read it again. Letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. So Brene says to choose authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect, right? Because if I try to show up perfectly, that's not the true me. Cultivating the ability to set boundaries, because if I keep doing everything for everyone, that's not going to be the true me. And then allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. We talked about vulnerability last week. So cultivating the courage to be imperfect, to set boundaries, and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. That's the first piece of what it means to be authentic. Another piece is exercising the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of two things, both strength and struggle. We're not one or the other, we're both, and we all are. So exercising that compassion for ourselves and others. And then finally, the third thing, nurturing the connection and the sense of belonging that can only happen when we believe that we are enough. Oh, wow. So I'm going to repeat those because that's huge. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect. Quit trying to be perfect. To set boundaries, go ahead and put boundaries on people, know what's your responsibility and what's theirs, and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, transparent in the moments. Then exercise the compassion that comes from knowing, hey, we are all made up of both strength and struggle. And finally, nurture the connection, the sense of belonging that comes because we believe we are enough. I know that's a mouthful, but when we practice authenticity, even in those worst struggle moments, we invite grace and joy and gratitude into our lives. And we all want grace and joy and gratitude, right? So what I've noticed in women is that we have the tendency not to speak. That's where we kind of hold back. That's where we get less than authentic. We tend not to speak. And the struggle is, the society says to us, don't make people feel uncomfortable, but be honest. Don't upset anyone or hurt anyone's feelings, but go ahead and say what's on your mind. Sound informed and educated, but not like a know-it-all. Don't say anything unpopular or controversial, but have the courage to disagree. Wow, those are some mixed messages, right, that we get from our culture. And so women hold back. We don't tend to show up fully ourselves. We don't tend to give our voice to the situation. Well, you can see from just those few lines that I mentioned about our culture and what our culture is saying to us, that authenticity isn't always the safe option. That's why we don't tend to opt for it, right? Practicing authenticity can be this daunting experience. There's definitely risk to it. But the question is, does the risk outweigh what we're hiding? Does taking the risk outweigh us hiding ourselves or our gift? I think it does. And I think if we trade authenticity for safety, there's all kinds of things that can come from that, whether it's depression, anxiety, addiction, all the things, blaming, resentment, grief. I think that it does outweigh the alternative for us to show up true to ourselves. So my challenge for us this week is, how will you challenge yourself to not shrink from authenticity, to hold your ground, to let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you really are? I'm Michele Gooch with Life by Design. You can find me here Wednesdays at 1 on Facebook Live. And at Life by Design, I get it. I know you want to live from your most authentic version of yourself. And in order to do that, you need to be confident in who you are. And the problem with that is you don't always know who you are, or you've gotten the message and started believing the message, I'm not enough. Remember those points I made from Brene Brown? And I just believe it's wrong for any of us to be stuck in that place of believing I'm not enough. So you deserve to be who you are meant to be. And I know what it feels like to second guess, to doubt, to hold back, to be paralyzed even by believing I'm not enough. And that's why I have created a proven framework that will get you from this place of second guessing, this place of not fully showing up as yourself, and move you towards where you want to be, where you want to go, how you want your life to actually progress. You can find me at www.lifebydesign.guru, lifebydesign.guru. If you're interested in partnering with me in this endeavor, I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you next Wednesday.